It is time for the next installment of Conversations, a video podcast series focused on highlighting the companies and individuals who are pushing our industry forward through their innovative thinking. I'm Dean Horowitz, president of PBM and publisher of Furniture Today. In this episode, I get to spend time with innovator Mike Magnuson. He is the founder of GoodBed, an online marketplace for matching consumers to the right mattress to the right retailer. This isn't the destruction of brick and mortar, it's the empowering of it. The action step for the consumer is to go to the retailer for purchase and delivery. GoodBed has helped more than 7 million people find the right bed. Over 1,000 retailers and manufacturers participate. Here's our conversation on establishing a great experience. Thank you for joining this.
Thank you for having me.
This is what I admire about you. You great education, great background. Being a consultant in the past, you got to see a lot of different businesses. You went through a personal experience and saw a great need. And then you launched GoodBed. So tell me a little bit about the journey that got you to the point of, you know what, I'm gonna throw the dice and I'm gonna go on my own.
Right. So actually at the time I started this, I was working as a private equity investor. So I was looking at companies. I was focused in a media-focused firm. I had kind of developed a personal focus on marketing services and digital media. And within that, I had sort of developed a proactive investment thesis that I thought that there was the opportunity to be done in smaller, underserved product categories, what had been done very successfully and well in larger categories like cars and travel and real estate. And I thought, well, there's still a bunch of categories out there that have a big need for something like that, but no one's built it yet because they're small and they're just a little bit like, under the radar at least.
Like long tail, like a long tail type thing. Let's hit those.
Exactly. And right around that same time, kind of faithfully, I got married. And my wife and I were out mattress shopping, and so we were buying a mattress, and it was just sort of like the experience that maybe others have talked about, where it was painful, frustrating, confusing, and that got me thinking, maybe this is a category. This is certainly a category that I felt like I could have used some information coming from a third party, someone I felt I could trust. And it was certainly not a product that I felt like prepared to purchase. I didn't have like, oh, this is how I always buy a mattress. I didn't have a rubric. So kind of looking to a third party to help me establish a process was, I thought, something I could use. And I was just basically looking for somebody like, an Edmunds for cars or a Zillow for real estate. And there just wasn't anything that I felt I could trust. And so I kind of tucked that away. And then a couple years later, I was still working as a private equity investor, and I thought to myself, you know what? Still no one has done this, and it just sort of started to get under my skin. And I thought, all right, I'm just gonna, I started it actually as a side project. I just sort of started learning more about the category and wrote some articles about what I had learned, and they started to get traction. And then I started building a database, and I thought, all right, let's start to build a database of product lines and manufacturers, and see if we could start to provide people information about the choices that are out there. And then that got traction. And then I thought, well, people probably would want a way to review these products. And so we added that functionality, and that got us more traction.
The magic, though, of your site, at least for me, is the match quiz.
Yes.
It makes such logical sense to have it, and no one else in the retail experience has really figured out a way to do it so seamlessly.
Right, and that was years in the making, because going into that goes not only a lot of mattress expertise that we had to accumulate over time, but also data from consumers, actual feedback that we could use to inform the kind of matching algorithm that we created. As well as a massive amount of data about products, what's available and where they can be found, so that we could localize the results. Like, people can search, as you saw, I'm sure, for products available in their local area through the quiz. And so yeah, that was really the culmination of a lot of things that we were doing over time. But it was always, our objective was to get to that point where we could allow people to search across the stores and across the websites to see products that are the best fit for them.
Yeah, great. An experience that most people find questionable right now, right? The mattress shopping experience.
Right.
You know, not high on customer satisfaction and can be kind of confusing. And there's so many options for somebody when they walk into a retail store. It's overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming. And it goes back to this, people don't have a rubric. They don't know what questions to even ask themselves as they're laying on a mattress. I've gone into stores with people and I see it time and again. I ask them, okay, what do you think of this one? And they'll say, they've got one adjective. It's like, it's comfortable. And then, and then you put them on the next bed and they still only have that one adjective. That's it. Like it's either that's comfortable, or maybe they might say, oh, no, this one's not comfortable, but there's nothing else. Like there's no, all right, I like this one, but the pressure relief is not quite as good as, they don't know what else to think about.
Well, I love at our bedding conference, we had the guy who trains the RSAs, right? And he's like giving hints on how not to creep out the customer.
Exactly. No, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to creep out the customer that are all too often used.
The intimate space, right? You're invading my intimate space. And at least now I can have an experience where I choose the mattress based on my comfort.
I think people want to, one of the things that we've learned is people want to go into the store and they have their guard up going into this experience, particularly if they've been through it before. And they may have had a not so great experience. So they tend to have their guard up and they want to go into the store armed with some knowledge. They want to kind of go in. They know that when they get in there, there's going to be 50 rectangles that look identical to them and some salesperson that's going to want to presumably sell them something who they don't really feel like going in they're necessarily going to be able to trust. That person's going to have to win their trust. So they want to go in with some knowledge where they can go, all right, I already understand a little bit about which of the products they carry, which of those might be a good match for me, why that is, and now I can go try them and apply my own personal judgment with that context, already having that broader context in place. And we think that actually that hopefully makes things a lot easier for that salesperson too, because now the person's already kind of like, they're halfway sold, right? Like they just want to go in with a more of a confirmatory mindset. Like I kind of get the science here of why this is going to be a good match, but now I just want to make sure it feels good.
Yeah, perfect. Now I would think that your approach works really well for furniture stores as well, or especially because I already know it's a classy place. Like I feel comfortable going into this environment. Now I'm going to choose my mattress. And I'm also going to choose other items that complement the mattress. And I'm going to have a total experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
and if we can bring mattress shoppers into a furniture store, I think that's potentially an even bigger win for them because of what you said. They may end up buying other products while they're there, and they may end up, if not even on that visit, they become a customer that has been acquired that probably has a greater lifetime value to that furniture, that broadline furniture retailer, than it does to a mattress specialty store.
Yeah, makes so much sense. And plus, you're taking out the most uncomfortable part of the purchase in the furniture store and making it a great purchase and opportunity for multiple sales. Yep. But for a specialty mattress store, you're also taking over that hurdle of I'm walking into this space. Who's going to be my salesperson? Oh my God, too many choices. Yep. That nervousness of do I even belong here is immediately removed, right? Because now I know what my targets are.
That's right. Hopefully the wall, the guard that they have, the wall that they're walking in, to protect themselves with is not quite so big and rigid. Maybe they're a little bit more confident and thus a little bit more welcoming to the salesperson of their input going in.
So you have, two different retail models, and there are other ones I'm sure that this all fits within. But what's the acceptance so far? What are you hearing back from those types of realtors Re- retailers, what are you hearing back from retailers that are demonstrating acceptance or concern?
Well, I think we've gotten a lot of acceptance. Most of the retailers we talk to now, it's partly a self-selection bias because a lot of retailers reach out to us because they see what we're doing and they like what we're doing. And so when we talk to them, they're excited about it. It's sort of like it can't happen soon enough in a way. And so, I'd say what those retailers tend to see is that, we're bringing a level of transparency to this market that allows the good products and good stores to be revealed, right? Like it sort of reminds me of like the quote about when the tide rolls out is a Warren Buffett quote. I think when the tide rolls out, you see who's been swimming naked. Like, so like we bring a transparency and everybody wants to know, everybody who's like doing the right thing, delivering good products, good service, standing behind it, they're all for that because in a world of transparency, they're going to shine. So when we can surface all the options and have user feedback coming in about all these options, they know that ultimately benefits them because they make good products and if they're a retailer, they provide good service and sell good products and stand behind them. So they're super excited, and not to mention they're excited about having other ways to bring customers into their store. Other channels besides mass media. I think you talked about the mattress retailers and the specialty guys and how we can help them. I think one of the things that I think is uniquely valuable to them about what we do is because of the fact that they really only have this one product to sell you, and because of the infrequency with which you buy it, mass media is an incredibly inefficient, although highly utilized, as you know, in the mattress category, way to reach mattress shoppers. It's just people are only in market for a month, maybe on average, every 10 years. So if you do that math, that's like 1% of people are in market at any given time. And mass media provides no way to target to that 1%. So that's why they just feel like, all right, I guess we just got to advertise constantly, hoping that like we are there when they happen to be in that 1 month window. But that's an incredibly inefficient way to do it because the other way to look at it is that every time you advertise, 99 out of 100 of those impressions are kind of dropping on the floor.
Right. Absolutely agree. Well, let's stay on this a little bit. So you bring somebody into the retail experience, they make their purchase. Are you involved in post-retail experience?
Not involved per se, not directly. Consumers will come back. We will seek reviews from those consumers so that we can then, what we found is that most consumers are pretty happy. So, but that average consumer won't come and share that experience unless they're asked. So we go seek out that feedback because that actually makes the retailers and manufacturers who are working with us inevitably look better. I mean, and it's dramatic, the difference, by the way. When you go ask people for reviews, the average rating you get is about 4 stars. When you just let stuff trickle in and whoever decides to review is who reviews, the average rating is 2 stars. It's dramatically different. So that's what we always are telling people, like, look, it's actually your choice. You have a choice of whether you want a 4-star rating or a 2-star rating. The choice is, do you go ask every single one of your customers to write a review? If you do that, you'll end up with a 4-star rating. If you don't do that, you'll end up with a 2-star rating. It's pretty simple. So we try to build that into our process where as we send people to stores to try products and buy products, we are then able to follow back up with them to get reviews. So those retailers who are working with us are simultaneously in the background building reputation for themselves, positive reputation that will lead to more sales and more customers in the future. So it becomes a self-reinforcing cycle, which is another thing that's really cool.
How do you measure your success?
Gosh, I mean, we believe that if we are doing things the right way, we should be able to create what we consider to be a win-win-win. Like a win for the consumer, a win for the retailer, and a win for us. Because we believe that there is a win for everyone out there. If we are able to match the consumer with the right product for them, and they can get it at a great price from one of the stores, that store is going to make money, that consumer is going to be psyched, and we're going to make some money off of that as well. Like there's enough to go around for everyone to get a win out of that. So I guess we're measuring our success in terms of the volume of those situations we can generate. So we have lots of users come on our site, and what we're trying to do is take more and more of them to that point where we feel like we've successfully matched them with a product that's a good fit for them from a good store at a good price, and then we feel like we've won and everyone's won.
Are you looking at I don't know what the number is offhand, but let's just say there are going to be 1.5 million mattresses purchased this year, that your company wants X percent of that volume?
I mean, we already reach probably 5 to 10% of mattress shoppers today. Now, not nearly all of them are buying through our site or necessarily in any way like.
But you're involved in influencing them to some level.
That's right. So that's like our reach. I personally believe that given the fact that I think we are the uniquely positioned as unbiased, objective third-party information here, I think that, and I know that 80% of people who buy a mattress research online as part of their purchase process. So I think it's very realistic that ultimately we should reach at least half of mattress shoppers in their process. Now, that being said, we've never spent a single dime or minute on marketing to this point in our company's history. So we've got a lot of upside when we finally turn our attention to that. Like that's how we will get from where we are today to there.
We have great platforms to help you, and So what's next?
So what's next for us? I think it's just continuing to try to create these wins that I was talking about before. I mean, specifically, we obviously connecting the dots with an online buyer is a little easier than connecting the dots with an offline buyer, which, as you know, something like 90% of purchases in this category are still made offline. And we're not in any way trying to like persuade people against that. We're in fact trying to create a system that enables people to buy how they want to buy. And people tell us that in the vast majority of cases, they want to buy in a local store. So we've set up our system to be able to send people to local stores. You saw it in the quiz as just one example. So now what we're trying to figure out is, okay, how do we track and measure when we've successfully done that? That becomes the challenge, because we can already do that for the 10% of people who want to buy online. We can already do that. We know when we've been successful, and that can then inform how our algorithms work. It can inform, we can go back and be more specific about asking them to review the specific product they bought, as opposed to not knowing what they bought. So we want to create that closed feedback loop for the offline side as well. That's what we're most focused on right now.
So would that look like something of you download into the mobile device your to-do list when you go to the store, and there's a beacon in the store that informs everybody involved of your preferences and takes you through?
That's certainly something we've talked about. I mean, the prevalence of those beacons at retail and mattress category today is pretty low.
But they're not that expensive of an investment at this point, right?
It's true.
It's just how do you get the value out of it?
Yeah, but then there's also the other side of that particular solution is how do you get people to download an app that relates to a purchase that's so transient, right? They're in market for this product for such a short period of time. So, are they going to be willing to download something to help them with that purchase? I don't know. But we've certainly explored that possibility. We've explored a lot of options. And so we will continue to. The unfortunate thing for us as a small company is that this is a big, hairy problem that even Google has not yet solved. And so we're having to kind of like solve a big, hairy problem even as a small company. But that's okay. You know, that we actually, the one good thing is, as a small company, we're a lot more nimble, and so we can try a lot more things. So we're using that to our advantage as we try to solve that piece of the equation. And I'm confident that as soon as we have solved that, then this becomes something that any retailer would be excited to work with us for all the reasons we talked about earlier. But also because we can then offer this to them on a real risk-free basis. If we can track and prove that we sent someone into their store, then we can offer them, hey, we'll send you customers, and you don't pay us unless we send customers.
Right. Which is the perfect model, right? But
yeah, that's the way I'd prefer to sell it if I can, because I just feel like it's just an easier conversation to have with people.
Any other pain points that GoodBed, Good Lamp, something. Have you thought about rolling this out into other categories? Or is this just, hey, we're going to do this now and let's figure this out?
Yeah, well, we're 100% focused on this category for now. But yeah, of course, I've thought, going back to my investor days, I always thought we could prove this out in one category and then apply that model to other similarly underserved categories, of which there are still plenty. But for now, our roadmap is focused on mattresses, and then our immediate broadening would be into related sleep products, where we can help. You saw with the quiz, as just one example, we get a lot of information from people, from those particular users, with which we could just as easily make recommendations about related products, such as pillows or adjustable bases, and things like that, things that our retail partners already sell, our existing retail partners. So we would first broaden our focus within the sleep category, and then look beyond.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Thanks for being part of the our bedding conference a few weeks ago. You were awesome and a big hit, and we'll keep working together on all these programs.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me on this series, and thanks for doing this series. It's great to have somebody promoting innovation in this category. It's exciting.